I'm James Lynch, and this is my stock report for UFC London, taking a look at the biggest winners and losers from the event. And this was a bit of a tricky one because of the way some of the fights unfolded here. But to me, the biggest stock riser on this card was Luke Riley, and I know he was favored going into his fight against Michael Aswell, but it was a pair of really good prospects, fighting each other. You had the 26-year-old go against the 25-year-old. Luke Riley still undefeated, and I just like what he put out there. You look at the significant strikes, huge difference in this one, 100 to 61, really dominated the fight, and no questions asked, this was a very good performance from him against a really tough opponent of Michael Aswell, who we know comes from that great gym, 4 ounce over there in Texas with, Joshua Van and Alden Correa and those guys. So big one for Luke. Gets the co-main event treatment on this one, ends up getting the win by decision. Luke Riley, to me, biggest stock riser on this card. Okay, second biggest stock riser on this card is Christian Leroy Duncan. And again, similar situation where Duncan was a big favorite going into this one. Heavy favorite, as they say here, minus 430. But it's just the fact that this was a good step up for Christian Leroy Duncan. It's a ranked opponent in Roman Dolidze. And yes, I know he's 37 and he was a plus 330 underdog. And it would have been nice to see Duncan, get the finish in this one. Dolidze pretty durable, pretty tough to take out. You look at most of his losses, they are by decision. Hernandez was a late finish in that one, but you look at Imavov, couldn't finish him. So, it's just the fact that Dolidze gets sort of that, name on his resume, so to speak, right? Because if we look at Christian Leroy Duncan's past wins, they're solid wins. They're finishes, right? He finishes Anders and Tulio, but doesn't really have, this was definitely, I think, the biggest win of his career as far as the names he's fought. So that alone moves up Christian Leroy Duncan, 30 years old, someone to keep an eye on in the middleweight division as he sort of passes the test. Because I kind of look at Dolidze as kind of like the gatekeeper in the weight class, possibly. He might be a bit lower than that now, but I thought there was a good win there from Christian Leroy Duncan. Okay, third biggest stock riser on this card is one of the few upsets on this card, and that was Danny Silva taking out Curtis Campbell. Curtis Campbell had a lot of hype going into this card. He was a minus 270 favorite. Silva goes out there, gets a second round finish, really helps his case here as far as, going into this fight and going into enemy territory and getting the win here. 29 years old, coming to us from that bloodline group with Cub Swanson. So nice bounce back from the loss to Kevin Vallejos, who, we just saw last week get a huge win over Josh Emmett. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. He's still hanging around. This was a very good win. Again, going into enemy territory, getting a finish in this one especially. It's his first knockout win in the UFC, so you got to like that. Danny Silva, big stock riser in my books, going out there and getting the upset over Curtis Campbell. Okay, honorable mention. Now, this is where people might, think differently than I am, but it's got to be Lerone Murphy, because I think Lerone Murphy won this fight. I had him winning. He actually did outland Movsar Evloev in their fight. If you go bring up the stats here, where is it? Murphy did end up outlanding him, and you look at the rounds. If you're just going by significant strikes, I know that's not the be all end all, but I thought Murphy clearly won round 1 and 2. Round 3 is where people seem to be going back and forth. I've seen some people score for Evloev. He did end up outstriking him just by 2 strikes in round 3. So that's where things get interesting. Obviously the point deduction in round 4, even though Evloev might have won that, but it would be 9-9 in that case. And then round 5 was pretty even. They both had 12 significant strikes, but it's just for the simple fact that Murphy was an underdog going into this fight. And in my opinion, should have won as a plus 205 underdog. And I picked Evloev both in the early look preview and in the preview show as well. So I don't have a problem mentioning that. I think if Evloev, if you gave round 3 to Evloev, then it's a draw. But I don't see how Evloev won that fight personally, but that's what's going to happen. So by that alone, I think Murphy's stock goes up. It's not going to get him the title shot, obviously, but I think his stock goes up with that performance personally. So again, a bit of a weird card when it comes to the stock report because things aren't as they seem. Usually it's fairly obvious here. And the other honorable mention I'll go to is Nathaniel Wood. He's been on quite the win streak. I don't think he won the fight previously against Jose Delgado, but I did think he beat Chieta here tonight. He's on a roll, man. He's won, 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row now. Probably going to get a ranked opponent after this. Big win there for Nathaniel Wood, who takes out a very dangerous Lucien Chieta on this card. Okay, let's get to our stock droppers. And again, this is a first on the stock report. I've never done this before. I've done honorable mentions, but I've never mentioned a stock dropper in someone winning a fight. But Michael Venom Page, this was a really not so great fight, to put it mildly. Even so much so that Dana White left during the fight. I don't think I'm the only one who thought it wasn't a very good performance from Michael Venom Page. And look, I get it. He shouldn't have had to fight Sam Patterson. I remember when this fight was announced, everyone's like, what's going on here? There were some rumblings about maybe he was offered Amosov and didn't take the fight, but who knows if that's actually true or not. But yeah, this did not help Mike. This fight, despite the win, Michael Venom Page's stock goes down from this win, in my opinion. And the stats back this up too. if you go look at it, 27 strikes, significant strikes in the 3-round fight. I know it's only 3 rounds, but like that was not, much action in this one. This was just a very dull fight. Put that in the category of, Francis and Derek Lewis, Rose and Carla. Just was not an appealing fight. And again, this is in the UK, 2 UK guys. You figured they would have put on a better show there. But yeah, I don't know where Michael Venom Page goes from here at 38. The UFC can't be happy with his performance. Obviously, when your boss walks out in the fight, it's not too good. So we'll see what's next for him. I could see the UFC continuing the style of matchmaking where they give him an up-and-comer and hope for the best for the up-and-comer. But yeah, despite winning, Michael Venom Page, biggest stock dropper on this card. I know it's crazy, but I don't know who else had a bigger stock drop. But I do have 2 other selections here as well. Curtis Campbell's got to be a stock dropper here. Again, one of the big favorites on the card that ended up losing. Was 8-0, now 8-1, gets finished in this fight. I thought he had a good performance. It's just, he got caught. But ultimately, that does bring his stock down. So he is a stock dropper just by the fact that he was supposed to win this fight. And then our third biggest stock dropper on this card is Shamrock. He's 0-2 in the UFC now. Again, was not supposed to win. Well, actually, he was supposed to win. He was the betting favorite. He was minus 135. So he ends up losing. He fought a guy who was on a pretty long layoff coming into this fight. But it's the fact that he's 0-2 now. And I remember when he came over from Octagon, a lot of people thought, okay, this could be a guy to, make some noise. But now he's 0-2. He could get cut after this, for sure. They'll probably give him one more, I would think, just because, again, it's coming to us from a different promotion. But tough look here for Shamrock, who, like I said, is 0-2, so his stock goes down, and he was favored to go into this fight on the betting odds. Okay, couple honorable mentions for stock droppers as well. You got to go with, what did I have here? Sam Patterson, again, wasn't supposed to win this fight, but he played a part in this fight not being very good. He was on a win streak heading into this one, 4 fights. Kind of meaningless now because he loses this one. But yeah, Sam Patterson's stock has to go down. He gets an honorable mention. Another honorable mention here has got to be Lucien Chieta. Misses his debut by weight. And then he comes in here and loses to Nathaniel Wood. Again, I believe he was he was the favorite. So yeah, he was the favorite, ends up losing. His stock goes down as well. I mean, you could basically put him or Shamrock in there. Shamrock has 2 UFC losses, so put him ahead there. And then how about Roman Dolidze? Again, Dolidze was not supposed to win, but it's the optics of it now. He's now lost a couple in a row. He's lost back-to-back fights. Yeah, and like, where does he go from here at 37 years old? Like I said, I think he's kind of like the gatekeeper in the weight class, so we'll see where he goes from here. But Roman Dolidze, another stock dropper. Now, people wondering about Movsar Evloev, like, where does he fit? This is my take on Movsar Evloev. I don't think his stock goes anywhere. He won the fight, but he's not going to get the next title shot. I don't think that's going to happen. I think John Silva is sitting back watching this main event and going, yeah, I'm getting the next title shot. I think that's probably what's going to end up happening. I think this stock's the same. I think he's still in this spot where he has not convinced the UFC to give him a title shot. Again, a lot of people thought he lost this fight, and I'm not the only one, or not lost, but majority of people thought it was a draw, right? It should have been a draw. Then you got people scoring it for Murphy. I was on the draw or Murphy side. I mean, again, round 3 was so close. I did think Murphy won, but again, it was close. I think draw could have been totally fine too. I just don't see how you score the fight for Evloev after what he put forth there. So again, if people are wondering about Evloev, I just have his stock as the same. I don't think it went up. Don't think it went down. It can't really go down because he lost, because he didn't lose, right? So it's hard to do that. But he's also not getting the next title shot, so his stock doesn't go up. So that's kind of where I'm at with Evloev. We can debate and disagree that in the comments if you guys like. So let me know in the comments your 3 biggest stock risers, your 3 biggest stock droppers on this card. Again, a bit of a tricky card because, let's be honest, this card wasn't that great overall. Let me know your thoughts on that. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.